Let's jump right into this explainer and unpack a truly fascinating, battle-tested philosophy from none other than Oprah Winfrey. We're going to look at the exact framework she used to pivot from a daytime talk show host to a global media titan. And, what's really wild about her approach is that it isn't based on ruthless business tactics. Nope. Instead, it relies on this deeply internalized, almost mechanical understanding of how your personal energy completely dictates your professional outcomes. So get comfortable and let's explore the actual architecture behind her massive success. Right off the bat, she challenges us to totally rethink our current trajectory. Oprah operates from this core foundational belief that divine intelligence actually has a massive blueprint for your life. We're talking a blueprint that was drafted before your ancestors even knew they were going to be your ancestors. She argues we spend way too much time trying to manually define our dreams, usually from a place of limited vision, instead of just stepping into the much larger, pre-existing dream that's literally just waiting for us to activate it. So let's start with Section 1, the law of intention. This is all about cause and effect applied to human behavior. The turning point for Oprah came back in 1989 when she read Gary Zukav's book, The Seat of the Soul. It fundamentally shifted her entire worldview. She realized this absolutely crucial point. Before you even physically do a thing, the internal motive driving you has already decided the result. It's like intention and the law of cause and effect are permanently glued together. Your intention is the true seed of your future. You just can't plant a seed of resentment or vanity and expect a tree of genuine success to grow out of it, right? The outcome is locked in the very second your intention is set, way before you take any physical action. To put that into perspective, think about this. Two identical actions can yield vastly different outcomes, depending entirely on the invisible intention driving them. Picture two people walking down the exact same church aisle to put money in the offering plate. One person does it purely to be seen by everybody else in the congregation, but the other gives with this quiet, genuine intention to offer what little they have. Oprah realized the universe actually responds to the intention, not the physical movement of giving the money. So the karmic return for those two people, it's going to be completely different, even though they did the exact same thing. Now, this wasn't just some abstract philosophy for her. Oprah applied this directly to her business model. She overhauled everything on her show, literally demanding that her producers state their specific intention for every single episode during their daily pre-show meetings. She completely refused to feature groups like the KKK or host those toxic, damaging fights that were so common on TV back then. Every single segment had to fulfill a mission. It had to be uplifting, enlightening, encouraging, and entertaining. If an idea didn't pass through that exact filter, no way. It didn't make it to the screen, period. Moving on to Section 2, mastering your own territory. It's time to become the captain of your soul. This is where the law of intention evolves into a super rigorous practice of self-focus. Think about how much of our life force we waste wanting to be in somebody else's life, coveting what they have, getting totally distracted by their path. But here's the reality check. You get absolutely zero credit and zero energetic return from messing around in someone else's space. Oprah actually channels one of her favorite teachings from The Wizard of Oz here. She reminds us of that moment the Wicked Witch of the West is told to go away because, well, she has no power here. And that's the truth for all of us. You have no power in any territory other than your own. You can't control your competitors, you can't control other people's opinions, but you absolutely get to be the master of your own fate. And when you meticulously manage your own territory, that is when the really wondrous opportunities start opening up. So, I want you to ask yourself directly right now, what natural path or calling are you currently pushing against? What are you resisting? A lot of times, we feel this massive friction in our careers or personal lives, and it's not because we aren't working hard enough, it's actually because we're actively fighting against the very current that is trying to carry us toward that bigger dream. We cling to these old paradigms of who we think we should be, rather than just leaning into what we are actually meant to be. And taking that a step further, what are you blocking? How is your rigid idea of who you're supposed to be actively blocking the bigger dream that divine intelligence has already mapped out for you? The moment you stop trying to exert power over things you can't control and stop resisting your natural gifts, you remove those blockages. And the craziest part? Oprah insists this isn't some long, drawn-out, gradual process. The very second you shift how you see yourself and recognize your own power, the change is instantaneous, literally in an instant. Let's look at Section 3, the struggle of the climb, focusing on the building of the own network. All right, so now we have to transition from the lofty theory of intention to the incredibly harsh reality of actually putting it into practice. Because it's one thing to have a beautifully aligned intention, right? It's a whole different ballgame to execute it in the real world. For Oprah, this transition was grueling. She made the conscious choice to walk away from the wildly successful Oprah show exactly when she felt she'd said everything she could say. She completely refused to cling to the past or live in regret. Then she dreams up the Owen Network. Amazing, right? But then came a massive reality check. She suddenly realized her core daytime audience didn't actually have the premium cable packages required to even watch her new network. This kicks off a brutal period of struggle where she openly, honestly to goodness, admits she did not know what she was doing at first. It just goes to show that even titans of industry struggle and really have to figure things out as they go. And the pressure here was just immense. I mean, think about it. When most of us fail, we get to sulk and recalibrate in the privacy of our own living rooms. But for Oprah, because of the massive territory she had built, her climb and all her mistakes were being broadcast globally, right there on the CNN news ticker. The scrutiny was intense. The entire industry was just sitting back, watching to see if she would fold. But despite all of that, she refused to soak in regret or abandon her territory. Which brings us to Section 4. Rising and thriving, and learning to trust the dream. So despite all those public stumbles, the terrifyingly low early ratings, and all the industry naysayers claiming she just didn't have the financial backing to produce expensive scripted television, she leaned heavily back into her original intention. She didn't pivot her core values. She trusted the dream. And because she stayed true to that vision, something really fascinating happened. Allies started rallying to her side. Tyler Perry actually stepped in, told her he believed in what she was building, and he used his unique ability to write, direct, produce, and shoot scripts for way less money than anyone else in Hollywood. He brought his immense talent directly into her territory and helped build the critical foundation of the network right when it needed it the absolute most. And the result? Shows like The Haves and the Have-Nots, If Loving You Is Wrong and Love Thy Neighbor, became the tangible real-world outcome of a properly aligned intention. These weren't just television programs, they were literally the lifeline that stabilized the entire ON network. They proved, without a doubt, that trusting the integrity of your dream and collaborating with people who genuinely share your intention yields massive results that will absolutely silence those early critics. There's this profound verse from Proverbs that beautifully anchors her entire philosophy. Oprah read this exact verse during her deepest struggle, and it served as a stark reminder. It basically says that trusting merely in resources, in money, or in sheer willpower is eventually going to lead to a fall. But the righteous, meaning those who act with a pure, aligned intention and manage their own territory with absolute integrity, they will always rise and thrive like a green leaf. True success, at the end of the day, is just an organic outgrowth of your internal state. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a final provocative thought to chew on. The framework is right in front of you. The law of cause and effect is just sitting there, waiting for your input. So are you going to step into the bigger dream that's waiting for you, or will you stay blocked, distracted, and completely drained operating in someone else's territory? The choice and the intention behind it is entirely yours to make today.